This video is a little lengthy. You know I don't like making long videos, but sometimes you have to make an exception. My good friend Jeff Bloovman, a lot of guys know who he is. He's a local Philly boy, and me and him are only about 20 minutes apart. It's pretty cool. And he trained my friend Ron. Ron has a disability with his eyes. He's not completely blind, but he was born with some kind of defect where he cannot see like the rest of us. And Jeff offered his expertise to train him and to show him how he can be more effective if Ron gets himself into a situation. Jeff's an expert, he really is. And just in case you don't know who he is, because you know I don't watch TV a lot. I watch TV a lot, don't get me wrong, but I don't watch them tactical competition shows and all that stuff. I don't watch a lot of that. So I'm going to throw a little clip in here, show you who Jeff is, and then we're going to go see Jeff help Ron out. It was really interesting. It was a lot of fun. Jeff's a great guy, and we had a great time.
This is going to be the ultimate test.
It's about brute strength.
That right there is pure determination.
I'm not stopping. Failure is not an option.
The will to win outweighs the skill to win.
Wow.
In the dangerous, unpredictable world of combat and covert operations, elite military, extreme sports, and law enforcement, only the fastest, strongest, and smartest survive. Now 4 of the deadliest humans on the planet have assembled to put their skills to 3 separate tests of speed, strength, and intelligence. One by one, they'll be eliminated. Who will fall and who will be left standing to claim their $10,000 prize and be a true one-man army.
I'm gonna bring it, okay? I'm gonna brown bag it.
I am an expert in the field of tactical training. I've had a lot of training under some of the foremost tactical training instructors.
I'm an expert with small arms, everything from an AK-47, M16, MP5.
Does that compare to being in a live gunfight? No, but it's as close as we can get as civilians.
Jeff.
Yes, sir.
You have prevailed against all odds and all your opponents. You have won $10,000 and the prestigious title of One-Man Army. Jeff had everything to prove to himself and to others, and that gave him the edge.
Jeff Bloovman. My company's name is Armed Dynamics, and we're Philadelphia-based. We do traveling classes all over the country, and basically just a real quick background of me. I've been doing martial arts for the past 23 years of my life, which I just calculated the other day, and I thought that was actually kind of interesting. I guess I've been in it for a little while. And I took my first formal firearms training class in 2004, and having been a lifelong shooter, I realized there was so much that I didn't know. And so that kind of, you know, put the bug in me, and I made a conscious decision to try to train with as many different trainers as possible from as many different schools. So the curriculum that you're going to see today comes from very varying different backgrounds and stuff.
Okay, Jeff, you're going to help Ron today. You're going to show him different techniques.
Yeah, Ron presents a really interesting task. He's asleep.
No, I'm asleep. I'm sorry.
Pay attention.
No, but Ron presents an interesting challenge, which I'm definitely all for, which is he's got a limitation as far as his sight goes. However, you'd be surprised, and hopefully the proof will be in the pudding, and you'll see that we can overcome that, okay? There's no reason why everyone cannot have greater ability to defend themselves and their loved ones. So what we're going to dial in on more is the physical kinesthetic aspect of this shooting process, because if we're going to have to, I'm going to have to dial him in and figure out just what the limitations are and his abilities are as far as vision goes, so that we can get him shooting accurately, quickly, and give him a greater level of confidence with his skills.
Excellent, Jeff. Sounds awesome. Thanks for inviting us down here.
Thank you for having me, man.
All right.
Okay, so when we're talking about I will not allow my muzzle to cross over anything I'm not willing to kill, destroy, or buy, we then have to give you some things to do to avert your muzzle from crossing over something like Ron or something. I can't just turn around with this blue gun and flag you guys. I mean, I can, but I'd be a real dickhead, right? And you guys wouldn't appreciate that. So what I can do is I got 3 basic choices, okay, without breaking into more things. Okay, I made a video about that, which will be up tonight. I got indexed on threat. Okay, my muzzle area the bullets come out of is trained in on the bad guy. So for the purpose of this, we're going to use that Udi Sharari poster right there. It's my friend. So this would be indexed on threat. From there, I can go muzzle up, okay, as an aversion technique. So that now, let's say this pole is Ron, I can be pressed right up here, my muzzle's not crossing him, okay? So this would be a muzzle aversion technique. They have benefits, they have pros and cons, limitations, and strong suits, but this will be one that we're doing today because, for example, we're going to be going here in order to load the gun, okay? So this is one that's going to become ingrained in you rather quickly. The other option that we have would be locked elbow, locked wrist, and my thumb on the outseam, okay, inseam, outseam of my pants, right like this. So now, again, if Ron's right here, my muzzle is trained straight downward and I'm not crossing him. So if you guys can see that, if I turn like this, I'm not crossing over anything I don't want to kill, destroy, or buy, okay? So again, 3 things, indexed on threat, muzzle up, locked wrist, locked elbow, thumb on the outseam. Now the reason that I say thumb on the outseam is because this is going to give me a physical reference point, okay? If I just dangle the gun, this is kind of called the dangle, where you dangle the gun back here, okay? Kind of old school police kind of thing. But now it's kind of floating in space. I'd rather have a physical reference point right on my outseam. Now I know exactly where it is, okay? So the 3 things that we're going to kind of talk about today. But for the purpose of this lesson, we're going to be indexed on threat and muzzle straight up. Where's our finger going to be, Ron?
Right on the
ejection port, right?
port.
Yep, high and away from the trigger.
Above the other thing, because the AR gets confused and hits the magazine. Gotcha.
Oh man, you're a great student, dude. Awesome.
Gotcha.
Okay, so let's go ahead and initial that if you don't have any more questions about it.
No,
Okay, so now for loading, I'm using a real gun, but I'm using a snap cap ammunition, okay? So there's no chance that we can have a negligent discharge and deafen ourselves or injure someone, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the gun directly in front of my face. Notice how I'm pulling this elbow into my center line of my body, all right? Because again, building commonalities between different weapons, if this was an M4, I would be pinning the buttstock between my bicep and my pectoral muscle. So again, commonalities. I bring it straight in front of my face, kind of looking over the top of my knuckles or through the trigger guard. I'm going to take my hand, my support hand, push the magazine into the carrier, and then have my index finger along the front of the mag. So that way, when I come out, the closer the distance it is between these 2 little pinkies, the easier it is for me to find that mag. So here, I'm going to go ahead and seat my hand with my index finger along the front of the magazine, bring it straight up, into the gun, give a tug down to ensure that it's seated. It only takes a millisecond. Reach over the top of the slide and rack it aggressively, okay? I'm kind of visualizing ripping, tearing the slide off the back of the gun. And notice how my arms are like this, kind of making this perpendicular kind of dude, okay? Now watch this. I'm going to bring my hand aggressively back to my bicep. Okay, this is going to allow the spring, the recoil spring, to compress as much as it physically can and release to ensure that we get a gun that goes fully into battery and allows us to fire, okay? So one more time, I'm going to go ahead and just unload that real quick. Bring the gun straight up in front of my face, magazine out, into the gun, tug, ensure that it's seated, reach over the top, and rack the slide. From there, what am I going to do? Okay, I don't want to just kind of cast this gun, okay, like I'm fishing outward. I'm going to come back to my high compressed ready, rebuild my grip, and extend the gun forward, which we're about to talk about, okay? Now, why would we come from here back to here? Because, if you think about this, our draw stroke, when our hands meet at this count 3 a draw stroke, okay, all I need to do now is extend the gun forward. If I've got a mazillion repetitions of the support hand building on the gun, from here, why not use that, okay? Because I'm going to build consistency, okay, between these things and kind of eliminate some of the issues and the variables of me just casting the gun, one hand finds the other, hand gets in front of the muzzle, etc. Those are things that we really want to try to avoid, okay? So that is how we're going to load the gun. For unloading of the gun, okay, let's say gun goes to slide lock. My hands are together right now, okay? So let's say I've got a functioning support hand that is on the gun. So bat, 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 bat. what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the gun back, turn it in a little bit, and remove the magazine from the gun, actually helping it with my support hand. Now watch this. Get that dude out of it, okay? It's worthless to me right now, okay? It's an unloaded mag, okay? Now look at where my hand is. Right for the next magazine, okay? I rebuild my grip on that, insert, tug down, reach over the top of the slide, and rack it. Now the other reason that I threw that magazine away is because of this. You like the sound effects? If I just drop it right in front of me, if you're thinking about contextualizing this to the street and then I gotta book it, okay, I'm creating a banana peel. So just rip that guy out, throw it away from my body, okay, get that shit as far away from my body as physically possible, reseat my finger on the magazine, insert it, rack, and get back in the fight, okay? So when we're talking about stance, first let me preface this with saying that I'd rather you be moving, okay? I'd rather you be moving and aggressively moving off the line of attack when you get into that fight, because is it harder to hit someone when they're moving or when they're standing stationary?
What's that saying? Motionless operators ventilate easily.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Move. Motionless operators ventilate easily. Exactly. So, but however, for the purpose of this, we're going to be in a lane, and you still need a way to stand with your firearm, okay? So again, building commonalities between these different weapons and such. The general principle will be my nose or over my toes, okay? I'm aggressively leaned in forward to the gun, and I'm going to the full travel of my arms, full extension of my arms, okay? So again, nose over my toes, so that I'm controlling that recoil, okay, mitigating that recoil, controlling that tool, which is the firearm, and extending my arms to full extension, okay? Very simple. My hips are squared to threat. And this would be called basically a modern isosceles. Isosceles being a triangle, one side of the triangle, the other side, and my second arm making up that triangle. Okay, so what we're going to do, I thought it would be good for the video and good for the viewers and stuff to see the baseline of the skills that Ron has come to me with, so that you can't say, oh, well, he came to me with those skills, etc. So we'll get again a baseline of what he's doing right now with the gun, what he's capable of, and then we'll go ahead and give him a lesson and see, hopefully, that he does a little bit better. Okay, so work on some of those strengths and eliminate some of those weaknesses. Press ready. So remember we were talking just briefly about, you know, this count 3 at draw stroke. Essentially what it is you're going to take your left arm, your support arm, okay, so for you that's your left arm, and just flag the elbow up. So right like that, okay? Now you can see that you're almost right into that thing about inserting the key in the lock. So what we're going to do is pretend like you have the gun in your hand, insert the key in the lock, slide it under, and roll your thumbs forward. Okay. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. So when we come from there, you're going to be back to the point where you can actually feel the physical reference point of this into your chest, and you're going to extend directly out. So directly out, directly out, directly out, directly out. Good, okay. So just when I say high compressor ready for the purpose of this, okay, I know that we haven't gone over it very thoroughly yet. That's what I want you to do. Okay, so go ahead and pick up the gun. I understand that it's loaded, right? So finger high and away from the trigger, unless you're in the shooting process, okay? So go ahead and come back to high compressor ready. Slide your finger, your key in the lock, and go ahead and just give me 5 rounds, slow fire at your own pace, with the technique that you had formerly been using, okay? And on your own time. So this isn't meant to embarrass Ron, but I definitely wanted to get a baseline reading, okay? So what we got is all 5 rounds are on paper, okay? We got 4 up here, and then one, this was the 5th shot, was significantly lower, probably about 4 or 5 inches from the other group, okay? So what we are going to aim to do with this lesson, okay, is get all of these rounds in high center chest. So the purpose of what we're going to be doing, that'll be around the 9 area, the 9 ring. Is if you think about anatomical shot placement, okay, shot placement with take into consideration the anatomy, this right here is maybe like high diaphragm, you know, solar plexus. I want to raise it so that basically it's between the center line of your body, so it's in the center line of your body between the nipples. Boop. That's where the human heart is, and it's about fist size. So for the purpose of today, we're going to be trying to achieve fist size groups pretty much as fast as we can accurately get them on threat. Okay? So high center chest, that'll be around the 9 area. Questions on that?
No, I think I got it.
Okay. So Ron had a good point that typically the targets that he trains on are much larger than this like quarter size, or what is this, half size target that we're using, okay? This is actually not the standard target that I use, this B27 half size. However, the range had them available and I wanted to use them just as a gauge, okay, before we get into realistic targets. Now the thing with training on large targets is, regardless of how large it is, what I'm still trying to achieve when I'm going for this quote-unquote combat accuracy, to throw out a term that, you know, I could use, fighting accuracy, whatever, is fist-sized groups as fast as we can press the trigger, okay? Now, understand the difference between that and like true 100% accuracy, which would be, you know, I'm breathing out, I extend forward, I take all the time. Well, you take all the time in the world and pressure, front sight, bang, gun goes off. You're back on the front sight, you reset the trigger. Now that is very important, okay, that has a place. Those are essentially our fundamentals, but the question, what we're striving to do is be able to apply the fundamentals at will, okay? So that it becomes your speed, the speed of your shooting is dictated by how fast you can reset that trigger and get back on your front sight, okay? So yeah, for the purposes of what we're doing, fist size group or smaller, okay, that's what we're trying to achieve today.
Okay.
Is whenever you're at this high compressed ready position. So it's defined as I'm pulling my elbow back with my dominant side, not into my sternum, but on the side of my body. Just kind of relax like that. Okay, this hand comes in, inserts the key in the lock, locks down, thumbs forward position. All right?
Okay.
Got my blue gun. Okay, from here I'm coming from underneath my dominant eye. So for you, that's your right eye by a wide margin. All right.
Definitely.
I'm just fucking with you. So I come from underneath my dominant eye, and then I extend forward because there's no real reason for me to have this gun migrating across the side of my body or in front, you know, underneath my nose if it needs to come in front of my dominant eye anyway.
Yeah,
so for efficiency's sake, I'm from underneath my dominant eye, and then I'm going to go ahead and extend forward. Now this is something that you will be absolutely able to do, which is achieve good physicality or physical referencing with your body. So assuming the same way every time. Think about your arms like they're on rollers. So you know, like when you pull a drawer out, okay, it's like on rollers and everything's really straight. So that when we get to, let's say, draw stroke, what I'm trying to achieve is a 90-degree presentation, okay, a 90-degree travel. So gun comes out of the holster, gun comes straight at the thread. So you can see how smooth and straight that is, okay?
Right.
And the other thing is that for the purposes of today, when we're coming from this high compressed ready position, which merely means my arms are compressed, and they're high in my chest, okay, high compressed ready, and I'm ready, as in, and I'm ready to fire, I can actually shoot from compression all the way through extension, all the way back to compression, depending on my distance to the threat. Understand?
Yeah, no matter where you're at in that, you can get shots off.
Correct. Now obviously, if like the far back wall, wow, sometimes my New York accent comes out, the far back wall is the threat, I'm not going to really be firing from here because I've got enough distance for me to get at the full extension.
Right.
Understand?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to be working from high compressed ready today. Okay. Questions on as far as that goes. Where it is, it's going to be just creating a physical reference point with our body. So go ahead and just mime that for me with your finger gun. Bring it all the way back. Flag this elbow up, the support elbow. Support elbow. There you go. Now you see what just happened? So before you were kind of like this. Now when you flag this elbow, the muzzle suddenly gets level. Okay, so it's level parallel with the floor. And now all you really need to do, see that?
Yeah, I got you.
Is extend outward. Additionally, one of the great things about this, and I got this from my friend Southnark, and I immediately started incorporating it because it made so much sense, is this is also giving me the ability to control my environment more. So if you're with your significant other or just some random person, you know, once I start drawing my gun up, I'm clearing them from getting in front of my muzzle. Okay, they can't just walk in front from here. They can walk right directly in front. Here I can kind of get control my environment a bit more and get the gun directly at the threat. Okay, so we'll have you actually do that physically on the range.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Now let's talk about the keys to accurate shooting. Okay. There's always, you know, people talk about breath control and blah, 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 blah. You're probably going to be huffing and puffing. Okay. The only time that I really get into breath control is when I'm trying to make a very, very precise shot at probably a pretty good distance.
I
okay.
take 3 steps, I'm huffing and puffing.
Well, exactly. And if you think about now entering, adrenaline dump entering in there, and you being fucking shaking because someone's really trying to kill you, your breath's going to be all over the place. Okay, so we're not even going to really talk a ton about that. Everything boils down to sights and trigger. Okay. Now, obviously, grip is important. It plays an important role with allowing us to run the gun quickly. Okay. However, I could accurately fire the gun like this, as long as I can manipulate the trigger so as not to disrupt my sights. Obviously, this is just a stupid demonstration. And you can make shots like that, but it really wouldn't be a good idea, or lead us to repeatable success. So what I'm going to do is a couple things. What you got here is front sight and rear sight. Okay, we only have the physiological ability to focus on one focal plane at one time, and especially considering your eye limitation, your sight limitation, you really only got one thing you can focus on. That's going to be the front sight. Okay, right. So what's going to happen is, if I'm at full extension, the threat is blurry, the front sight is in crisp, clear focus, and the rear sight is blurry. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now, especially for you, the consistency with which you build your grip is going to lead to really good results. Okay? So if you are high up in the grip tang all the time, and the gun is in line with your skeletal system, with your forearm, you're naturally going to have a greater likelihood of delivering those rounds accurately. Over, nose over your toes, okay, and just without the gun, extend forward, extend your arms, extend your arms, extend your arms, extend your arms, extend your arms. Okay. All right. Go ahead and get the gun loaded. Take a half step back there. It's like we're all jacked up on that thing. So muzzle in front of your face, insert it, give it a tuck down, and rack it aggressively. Good. Come back to your high compress ready. Get all the grip you're going to build. There you go. Nice. Good. Squeeze. All right. Flag your elbow and gently extend forward. Nose over your toes. Nose over your toes. Front sight, front sight, front sight, front sight. I want you to give me 5 rounds. Resetting the trigger. Front sight. Reset. Front sight. Reset. Front sight. Reset. Front sight. Reset. Front sight. Slow down. Come back. Okay. Let's take a look. So that's
smaller area, but
much better. Okay, much better. So compared to the first one,
the grip definitely gets smaller. I just gotta get it down more.
So the first one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So about that much of a distance, okay? And this is now fist size. So now we need to just dial it into getting in center, and that will be pretty good, man.
Now, mind you, I've been shooting this way for 2 years, and I've been shooting this way for
about 30 rounds.
Not even, right? I mean, that's the same. I've been shooting this way for years, and this way I'm shooting better, and I just started it.
Good. That's good. Good. Let's go ahead and take a couple more rounds, okay? Just trying to dial you in a little bit more to the center of this thing. And then as far as I'm concerned, I'll be happy with concluding it there. How do you feel? Yeah. Hard, and now extend forward, nose over your toes. Extend forward, front sight, front sight, front sight. 5 rounds using trigger reset. Front sight, front sight, reset, front sight, reset. All right, ceasefire.
A lot better.
Nice fucking job, buddy. Nice job. Nice job. That was the worst. Oh, you got a bad. Okay, I haven't given me an elbow. So you can see that within just about, I don't know, we fired about 35, 40 rounds today. You went from about like 12 inches to fist-sized group. Okay. If we had a little bit more juice left in the camera, and we actually went through the 100 rounds total, dude, you'd be really dialed in. So. To me, this represents a marked improvement from the skills that you came with. Your thumbs forward looks good. You've got to work on building consistency in your grip. However, you now know what you need to work on. Your trigger reset is there now. Before you were kind of flying off that trigger, like hitting the front of the trigger guard, which is a different technique and one that I typically don't do. But yeah, man, that is good.
Excellent.
Good job. Good job.
Hey, Jeff, thank you very much.
It's got a bad hand. Yeah, guys, thank you very much, and you can give them my information about where to get in touch with me.
Oh, yeah.
But you can see that even, you know, with maybe a bit of a visual impairment, you're absolutely capable of doing this stuff. You know, we can fight through it. Okay. So good job, bro.
Thank you very much.
Good job.